We believe that life is better connected, and our aim is to help our young people find genuine friends and a supportive community. We also think that the best way to navigate this COVID season is by engaging together in smaller groups. We would love to help get them connected in this way by joining one of our Hangout groups. For any questions or further information, just email youth@forgechurch.com or check out the Forge website. Welcome to Motion Live. We are so glad that you have joined us. Thank you for joining us. If you're new, a special welcome to you. But you guys who are here every week, we say it every week, but you are so welcome. We love you guys, and we love the fact that you are engaging in with this. This is so good. I know some of you guys are watching with family members too. Say hello to all the family members that watch along. We've had some great comments from family members, so thank you for all you guys that are watching. My name's Tim. I'm just going to be with us for the next sort of 35 minutes or so, just walking us through our programme together. We've got some great things planned, which I'll tell you a bit later on, but we want to know that you're watching. We want to know, so let us know in the chat. Write your name in the chat. I don't care if you're using your parents' account on YouTube. Write their name in the chat. Write your name in the chat. We'd love to know. Now, we've got some people who comment every week, and we love the fact that they comment every week, and we appreciate their comments because it means we can read out their comments. But there's some people there that we know that are watching but are just not commenting. So put some names in your comments. Just put your name in there. Tell us a joke. I don't care. Put anything in there that you want. But I tell you one thing I want to know. One thing I'd love you to put in the chat. What's homeschool been like this week? What's it been like for you? Has it been good? Has it been great because you haven't had to do much work? Or actually, mum and dad or whoever's teaching you at home, are they like pretty hard on you and they get loads of work done? Or what's your favourite subject at home? Is there subjects that you prefer doing at home that you really can't stand doing at school? Or what's it been like? Tell us your experience. So write it in the chat. What's the best bit about doing homeschool? Lunch is probably the best bit because, you get better food at home than you do at school, and you've got your TV, you've got your games that you can play. So yeah, lunch is probably the best thing for me. I guess for me, homeschooling has been pretty hard. For our children, we've got two that are in primary school, one in year 6, one in year 4, and we're trying to do, sort of teach them, and at the same time looking after a baby and working, and so it's been pretty hard. We've had tears, we've had shouting, we've had slammed doors, and people running upstairs, and that's just us as parents. The children have been fine, but it has been pretty hard. So please let us know in the chat what it's been like for you. So what have we got planned for the session tonight? So we have got some exciting things. We've got our last series, our last episode of our jump videos, so that's good. Looking forward to that tonight. We've also got a new feature that I want to introduce later on. Really excited about this new feature. It means that you guys are going to be involved in it as well, which is going to be great. We've got another great song that we're playing tonight, and another talk in our series about vibes. So we'll listen to that a little bit later on. So let's jump straight into it. Let's have a look at our jump video. So let's take a look at this. Dylan's upstairs listening to some music, so he won't hear me coming. Let's go.
Boo!
Oh, I have generally loved this series. Now, you guys are just far too nice because I've asked you to send me videos, but there's not been many videos coming forward. So you guys are obviously just far too nice, nicer than I am, because I had a lot of fun doing that with my family. That was a lot of fun. Now, Tim Sparks did get a video into me, but it was just too late to make the cut. It was a great one because he didn't even really mean to do it. Karis was on her phone recording herself doing some sort of TikTok, probably knowing Karis. And Tim came around the corner, made her jump, and she jumped out of the skin. And so she recorded it herself, but it didn't quite make the cut because I didn't get it in time. So maybe I'll show it on social media or another day this week. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. Okay, let's do some shout outs. Let's have a look. Who's watching? Loads of people are commenting, so well done for listening. Who we've got? The Austin family. We love the Austin family. And Summer's put on there. Hello, Summer. Also, Paul said hello. And Mila's watching. Xanthi's watching. The Sparkles family are watching. We love you, Sparkles family. Who else have we got? Teddy. Hello, Teddy. Levi. Hello, Levi. Izzy Walsh is watching. I don't know why I have to say Izzy's full name. Why can't I just call her Izzy? Izzy, welcome. Lisa said hi too. Hi, Lisa. Miss you, Lisa. Who else we got? A lot of people comment about, school, homeschooling. What have we said? Amila's saying it's been boring. The best bit is the end. Yeah, totally get that. I hated school, so I don't even know what homeschooling would look like. That would be terrible. Izzy is saying it's been so boring. Xanthi, school equals boring. Favourite subject is drama because we are quite close. That's nice. That's really cool. I like that. Leah, homeschooling is quite overwhelming. Totally understand that. Very, very overwhelming in our house. Like I say, it's quite emotion. The Perkins family. Hello from Jamie. Hello, Jamie. Is it Jamie or is it Nathan, though? Oh, we don't know. Homeschooling is boring, says Teddy. Excellent. Who are you? Oh, Russell. Oi, oi. Hello, Russell. Excellent. Brilliant. Loads of people comment, so well done for listening. Now it's time to head into to have a look, a sneak peek of our new feature that's going to be starting over these next few weeks. So let's take a look at this video. So, Emotion Rock, Paper, Scissors World Cup. How is this going to work, I hear you ask? I understand that you might not know how this is going to work because it's going to be quite complicated. But what we're going to do, in your Hangout groups later on, you are going to be asked to do the motion, the rock, paper, scissors motion. So you're going to be asked to do that. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to put all of your names into a hat. And I'm going to draw them out. And then I'm going to put you against someone else in a different Hangout group. And then I'll be playing it over these next sort of few weeks. We'll have round 1, round 2, until eventually we have a winner. So you're not going to know who's won until it's played within our live motion events. That should be pretty simple. Everybody knows it's rock, paper, scissors. You know, some people say other things, but that's what it is. It's rock, paper, scissors. So you do rock, paper, scissors, shoot, and then you do your motion. It'll work out. The leaders are amazing. They're going to record it tonight, and then they're going to send it on to me. And so over the next few weeks, the World Cup is going to be decided. I love this. This is a great new feature. Now, because it's such a great feature, I think there should be a great prize. So keep an eye out over these next few weeks. It's going to be a great prize for the winner. So when we ever find out who the winner is, you will get a great prize. Cool. Excellent. Looking forward to that. Right, we're now going to head into our talk. Like, we're doing a series which is called Vibes. And our vibes are all about our emotions, our feelings. Now, our emotions and feelings are good things. It's okay for us to have these emotions and feelings. But when we let those vibes kind of take over our lives and they control us, that's not healthy and that's not good. And that's what this series has been all about. It's been so useful for me, and I hope it's been useful for you guys too. So let's take a look at our next talk in the series called Vibes.
I know it's the wrong time of year to think about it, but let's talk about School Sports Day for a minute. School Sports Day was 100% the best day at school for me. I absolutely loved it. I loved the competitiveness of it all. I loved being involved in the races. I loved the togetherness of all the different houses who were made up with kids from different years. I also loved the fact that it meant no lessons for most of the day, which, was an added bonus for someone who hated most elements of school life. In fact, one of my proudest moments in my life was being on the winning games captain on Sports Day, going up in front of the whole school with probably the hottest girl in our school to collect the trophy on behalf of our team. Maybe like me, you love Sports Day. It's an opportunity to show others what you can do. Maybe your thoughts are like, if I win, everyone's going to love me, and I'm going to look so good on those slow-mo videos. Or maybe it's a day that you hate and your thoughts are more like, oh no, what if I fall? What if I mess up and become one of those viral videos about people epically failing? We're in another week of our series called Vibes. Vibes are like emotions, and the thing about emotions is that we all experience them in our lives. And sometimes, without us even realising it, those vibes can end up controlling us in a way that isn't healthy. And today I want to talk about one vibe that fights to control us. Fear. All of us have experienced fear in some form or another. It's kept us from trying new things. Or maybe it's hurt our friendships. It's created a script in our head that convinces us of things about ourselves that just aren't true. The crazy thing about fear is that our ability to experience it is something that makes us human. Think about it. Our fear comes from the fact that we can gather information and think about the future. As humans, we can wonder, what if this happens or that happens? And it makes us feel afraid. The same ability that allows us fear allows us to imagine, have hope and dream, which are great things. So our ability to gather information and think about the future has two sides, the fear and the hope side. And I think we would all agree that the hope side is awesome. We love imagining, dreaming and inventing. But then we have the fear side. The side that comes up with all the what ifs. They make our world shrink until our world is pretty much made of whatever it is that's making us afraid. Think about the last thing that you were afraid of. How much of your day was spent thinking and stressing over it? That mock exam. What it's going to look like when we go back to school after this pandemic is all over. Does he or she like me back? If you're thinking anything like me, it's most of the day that you're thinking about these things. You're thinking through scenarios, planning out what to say and what to do. That's what happens when the fear vibe takes over. Our world gets really small. Our world becomes the fear. But here's some good news. Jesus had a lot to say about fear. The problem is, we tend to read the verses where he talks about fear by themselves, and when we do that, they sound nice, but they don't seem possible or even practical. For example, Jesus said, "Fear not." In other words, when it comes to fear, just stop and quit. And that's not exactly helpful. So today, I want to look at a passage where Jesus talked to some of his closest friends about fear. And at a point, he tells them this: I'm going to send you out like sheep among wolves. Think about it. Wolves are predators and sheep are prey. So Jesus is like, you guys are the prey and I'm going to let you loose with a bunch of predators. Then he gets more literal. He tells them that they're also going to be arrested and beaten. And to wrap it up, he says, don't be afraid. We tend to read that story and just stop there. But this is just part of a bigger story. Jesus took his friends on a field trip before this conversation, and it was all connected. They were in a boat in the middle of the Sea of Galilee, and while they were there, Matthew, one of Jesus' disciples, said that this happened. Suddenly, a furious storm came up on the lake, so that the waves swept over the boat. Jesus and his disciples are on a small boat in the middle of the water, and without warning, a storm shows up. Can you imagine? The disciples were scared out of their minds, quite frankly, worried about their lives. And guess what? Their fearless leader was doing. Jesus was sleeping right through it. So naturally, they wake him up. They head over to Jesus and say, Lord, save us. We're going to drown. The disciples are frustrated. They feel alone and most of all scared. And they want their leader to calm them down. And here he is, sleeping. And how does he respond to this? You of little faith, why are you so afraid? I can only imagine the disciples' response when he asked this. They had to be standing there soaked to the bone from the rain and waves crashing around them. But Jesus wasn't paying attention to what was in front of them. He was trying to teach them something. He was teaching them about fear. So he gets up, but he doesn't panic. No matter how scary the circumstances, Jesus stays calm. Then Matthew says that Jesus spoke to the wind and the waves and they calmed down. The disciples were amazed. They responded by saying this: what kind of man is this? Even the wind and the waves obey him. Then they thought about what they've just seen. It was truly unbelievable. The wind and the waves obey him. Now, they weren't just amazed, they were afraid. Like, who is this man who can calm down a storm? And in a moment, their confidence in Jesus overwhelmed their fear of the storm. And that's the point of the field trip that Jesus had taken them on, to show them that their feelings or their fear don't have to control them or boss them around, to show them there's someone bigger and more capable than whatever they are afraid of. Let's go back to the conversation where Jesus says that he's going to send them out to like sheep among wolves. Jesus follows that up by saying this: do not be afraid of those who kill the body but cannot kill your soul. In other words, if you're going to fear something, you might as well make sure it's the right thing. A storm isn't nearly as big as God. And these dangerous situations I'm sending you out into, like sheep among wolves, don't be afraid, because they aren't as big as God. It's like he's saying, remember that boat ride? You were afraid of the wrong thing. Sure, you had a right to be afraid, but didn't you know that there was someone with you who was more powerful than the storm? Jesus goes on. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a penny? Yet not one of them will fall to the ground outside your Father's care. And even the very hairs of your head are all numbered. So don't be afraid. You are worth more than many sparrows. Jesus is saying, God is paying attention to you. Don't be afraid. You're worth more than the sparrows. Don't be afraid. God has numbered the hairs on your head. Don't be afraid. He is reminding us and says, you are valuable to him. God is close. He knows your circumstances. He's concerned with what happens in your everyday life. He cares about what you care about. When it comes to dealing with fear, this is a big deal because God knows all about it and is with you in the middle of it. But Jesus isn't done teaching them about fear. They go on another field trip. And after performing a miracle by feeding a crowd of people with a boy's lunch, Jesus tells the disciples to get on another boat. And they're probably thinking, too soon, Jesus, too soon. Remember what happened last time? But they get on the boat anyway, except, plot twist, Jesus doesn't get on there with them. He tells them that he'll meet them on the other side of the Sea of Galilee. So the disciples spend the night rowing, and at some point in the night, the waves get bigger and the wind blows. And they have to be thinking, great, we're about to go through another storm again. But this time, Jesus isn't with us. Then they look out on the water, and they can't believe what they see. It's Jesus walking on the water. Matthew records that the disciples were terrified. In fact, they thought they'd seen a ghost. But then Jesus says something that gets their attention because they'd actually heard it before. Take courage, it is I. Don't be afraid. This is Jesus trying to remind them of all the lessons and field trips that they had up to this point. They'd seen miracles, heard teaching, and yet fear was still in control of them. When we fast forward to the night that Jesus was arrested, we see that disciples abandoned Jesus. Why? Because they were afraid that if they stayed close, they might get arrested too. And then Jesus was crucified. Where were they? Well, they left because they were afraid. The next day after Jesus was buried, where were the disciples? They were in a hiding in a room because they were afraid. But then Sunday came, and the woman who had followed Jesus went to the tomb and discovered that it was empty. They came back and told the disciples, so the disciples went to the tomb, saw that it was empty, and thought that someone had stolen the body. But then Jesus himself appeared before them, and they realized that he's alive. And here's the deal. When the guy who you've been following dies and then comes back to life, suddenly everything he had said before seems more real, true, and believable. Suddenly all the times he told them not to be afraid made sense. He could conquer death itself, so he can handle whatever they were afraid of. See, for the disciples who loved and followed Jesus, the resurrection wasn't just a nice surprise, it was everything. It made them bold, gave them strength, and put everything that Jesus said about fear in perspective. Their world was still crazy, but because of the resurrection, the disciples and anyone who followed Jesus put their fear in its place. It was like they finally understood the lesson from the boat. When all things around them seemed much bigger and scarier than they could handle, now Jesus' words made sense. Fear not, I am with you. We know this is true because after the resurrection, the disciples came out of hiding. They didn't run from the authorities. Actually, they started preaching to them. And these followers of Jesus ended up changing the world. Why? Because they started to live as though they believed what Jesus told them. Fear not. The thing is, we all know that fear will always be part of our experience. Fear is a part of what makes us human. It will always be there to some degree. But we don't have to live like fear is in charge of us and telling us what to do. There's a guy named Peter who was one of Jesus' closest friends and one of those disciples. Peter gave some tips about fear in a letter that he writes to some Christians who never had the chance to meet Jesus. Peter says this: cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. When Peter says cast, he means throw, hurl, or heave. These are active, intentional words. It means that this doesn't happen by accident. Be active with your fear. When you feel anxiety, fear, or worry, take it and throw it to Jesus. Why? This is the most important part. We throw our fears on him because he cares for us. Because of Jesus, fear doesn't have to be the boss of you. So here's what I want you to do. When fear becomes the vibe that takes over your life and starts to control how you act, I want you to do this. Name whatever it is that you're afraid of. Write it down. Then throw that fear to Jesus. And then talk to your hangout group leader about your fear. Your group leader is here for you. They want to pray alongside you for your confidence in Jesus to be larger than whatever it is that you fear. When you invite them into your fear, you're inviting another person who can remind you of whatever is true in your life. So, as we wrap up today, I hope you'll all remember that these vibes, feelings, and emotions that we have don't have to control of us, especially fear. They are never meant to make us who we are. They are, however, invitations for us to pay attention. So while we can learn from our emotions, we need to know that because of Jesus, they don't have to be the boss of us. As we head out to our groups, let's be bold and courageous enough to share the fears that we face. Together, we can help each other fear not.
Sing wide, all you heavens, let the praise go up as the walls come down. All creation, everything with breath, repeat the sound. All His children, clean hands, pure hearts, good grace, good God. His name is Jesus. Swing wide, all you heavens, let the praise go up as the walls come down. All creation, everything with breath, repeat the sound. All His children, clean hands, pure hearts, good grace, good God. His name is Jesus. Swing wide, all you heavens, let the praise go up as the walls come down. All creation, everything with breath, repeat the sound. All His children, clean hands, pure hearts, good grace, good God. His name is Jesus. Swing wide, all you heavens, let the praise go up as the walls come down. All creation, everything with breath, repeat the sound. All His children, clean hands, pure hearts, good grace, good God. His name is Jesus. Jesus, our redemption, our salvation is in His blood. Jesus, light of heaven, friend forever, His kingdom come.
I don't know about you. I don't know what it is, what situation you're going through, where fear is kind of really taken hold of your life and everything that kind of is around that. And that could be different for every single one of us. But I just want you to know that God has got those situations. God is with you right in the middle of those situations. I just want to pray. Lord, I just want to thank you for this reminder that you are there for us, that you love us, that you care for us. And we are all facing something at the moment, whether it's homeschooling, whether it's family issues, whether it's relationship issues, whatever it is, Lord, that I just pray that you'll help us to bring those situations to you. Help us and remind us that you are there in those situations, that you love us, that you care for us. I pray that you will surround us with people that also care about us, that will also want to walk alongside us in those situations. I pray that, that fear will no longer have a hold on us. As the song said, I pray that we can take courage because our help comes from you. I pray these things in your name. Amen. Cool. So now it's time to go out into your hangout groups. I don't know if you're aware, hangout groups are something that we do directly after this. It's just a place where we can dig a little bit deeper into some of the subjects that we've been looking at tonight. If you aren't linked in with one of those hangout groups, we would love you to. So please, if you head over to our Instagram page or our Forge website, there's a link on the Instagram page which will take you directly to it. It will give you a little bit more information about those hangout groups, who's involved in those hangout groups. If you've got any further questions, just email me, youth@forgechurch.com, and I'd love to answer any questions that you might have. But it's a really great way for you to kind of dig a little deeper and to kind of understand a little bit more, to ask some amazing leaders to walk alongside you in those things as well. So I hope you have a great week. Stay safe, and we'll see you again here next week.